Welcome everyone. This is Lady G from Great Basin Alchemy. Thanks for tuning into my channel. I'm trying a new microphone this time. I had a couple people say they couldn't hear me very well in the last videos. So I have a new microphone, and hopefully you'll be able to hear me much clearer, and I can continue to talk softly while everyone else in my household is sleeping. Also, there was a big glare on the cards last time, so I have the lighting set up a little bit differently. So please let me know how that works for you. I hope this is going to work out well, and my beloved set up a new system for the camera, so lots of new things this time around. Hopefully they will work out well. But if you see something that needs to be improved, please, by all means, let me know, as I'm learning as I'm going here. So tonight we are going to be talking about the release cycle. So we're tuning into the full moon energy that's coming up in a couple of days on Wednesday of this week. And today is Saturday, so I'm filming this on Saturday, but I'll be tuning into the full moon energy on Wednesday as we do this. It's also the end of Mercury retrograde shadow, and I'm not going to get into what all of that means at this point. The next Mercury retrograde, I'll go into much more detail about the shadows and how that plays out in our lives through the Mercury retrograde process. But needless to say that whatever we were addressing during the Mercury retrograde process, that has fallen apart and been rewoven, and now we're in the clear moving forward as of today, Saturday. The full moon this cycle is going to be in the sign of Gemini, and there are many things I could say about this sign in Gemini, the full moon in Gemini. But there are many other astrologers out there who are much more educated in what the full moon in Gemini means to you specifically. So I'm going to only address one particular aspect of it, based on this card here that came up during our new moon reading. And this was the card that Mama Gaia had set up for us, had a message for us, and I remember that it was really speaking to me at the time, but I didn't have the time to really get into it during that video. So we're going to get into it a little bit more today. We're going to it's connected with this one here, and we're going to also look at two tools that we can use to support us through this release part of the moon cycle. So let me just remind those who are new to my channel that the purpose of this channel is to provide support, encouragement, and raise our vibration out of fear, because it is so easy to fall into fear right now. Those of us who have lived multiple lifetimes are seeing what's happening politically around the world, not just in the US, but around the world. And it can be very easy to fall into fear and despair, because we've seen this before. And we've seen it play out in really, really negative ways, heart-wrenching ways, especially for those of us who are empathic. So For those of us who are empathic, it is vitally important that we stay calm, that we stay balanced, and that we keep our vibration high, and that we keep our emotions out of fear, because we are the trendsetters. We impact those around us, whether we know we are or not. And specifically, we also impact our family through our DNA, those who we are related to through our DNA, by how we live our lives, how we heal things that need to be healed, because this is all connected. We're all connected in through the DNA, and how we heal ourselves affects our DNA, which then affects those before us and after us. So the process of healing is not one to be taken lightly. It's a profound work. And so for those who feel like you don't know why you're here on this planet, start there. That, if for no other reason than to heal your ancestral line forwards and backwards, that's a big, big task, and an honorable one, to stop whatever unhealthy patterns are in your family. Make them stop with you, and do whatever it is that you need to do to stop those patterns. And that is an honorable work. So those are the intentions for this channel. If these intentions do not resonate with you for whatever reason, thank you for stopping by, and I wish you well in your search, in your process and journey through life, and perhaps at one point our paths will cross again. If it does resonate with you, I welcome you, and I look forward to getting to know you and traveling with you in this journey of ascension through the planet at this time. So, a couple of other things. I use cards a little bit differently than traditional readers. I use them to guide my intuition, to give me a little bit more clarity. So you're not going to see traditional card reading on this channel. This is primarily channeling from spirit, from higher sources, and using cards to give me a little bit more insight as to specifics that I may not be able to bring through quite so clearly yet. So I'm practicing so that I will strengthen that muscle and not necessarily have to use cards in the future. Again, I'm using my intuition on this. So this may or may not resonate with you, or some pieces of it will and some pieces of it won't. It's important to me that everyone who participates in this channel with me connects with your own inner wisdom, so that you know what works for you and what does not work for you. And if it works for you, take it, run with it, heal with it. Whatever it is that is appropriate for you, you will know, and your higher self will know. If it doesn't resonate with you, just allow it to flow past to someone else who it might resonate for. And also, the energy is extremely malleable, and people are making decisions every single day, and decisions change outcomes. So what I see now and what I read now may only take 2 days to be accomplished in your life, but it may take 3 months to be accomplished in another person's life, or 3 years, or maybe another lifetime for somebody. Or it may not happen at all because somebody has made a different choice. So keep that in mind too. What these readings that I do and what the channelings that I bring through, I intend for them to be timely as well as timeless, as one of my teachers says in her sessions. But they may not always be that for you. So again, tuning in to your own inner wisdom is going to be vitally important. So let's start with that. Let's create a safe and sacred space with the sacred masculine. And tune into the sacred masculine, the sacred feminine. So the sacred masculine, create a safe and sacred space with the boundaries that are appropriate, the appropriate sacred geometric healing holograms, mandalas, and shapes for this full moon session, for the full moon in Gemini in December of 2019. And then we invite the sacred feminine to fill this space with unconditional love, healing, destruction, creation as is appropriate for this time. And then we invite each of you to connect with your own healing source, your own spiritual power, your own inner wisdom. And I'm modeling energetically to you how to do that. You do not need to know how to do this consciously. Your higher self knows how to do it. And I am modeling it to you energetically. So if you just give permission, you will automatically shift to match me. I will not do anything to you. I will simply model how to do something, and it is entirely up to you whether or not you wish to match my energy at the level of your higher self. So we invite you at the level of your higher self to work with the energetic fields and the guides to locate all of the energy that belongs to you that is outside of your divine line. Gently lift it all up and off of everyone and everything, and bring it all back to you at the level of your higher self, cleansed, cleared, and recalibrated to this present breath of now. Then we invite you at the level of your higher self to work with the energetic fields and the guides to locate all of the energies that you are feeling empathically, holding, carrying, touching, that you have taken, accepted, received, or inherited from the ancestors that don't belong to you. And gently lift them all up and off of you and send them back to their right and perfect place, along with all relevant and appropriate information where it has the capacity to be received. Do this in all dimensions and lifetimes where you express yourself. Same for your body, Deva, and your teams. And I will be doing some videos coming up on the energetic body and what these different terms mean. Whenever I do energy work, I usually do have some burping of some kind. So excuse me with that. As the energy gets going, I have different body sensations as the energy flows through my body. So yes, I will be doing videos on the different energetic terms that I use, and so that you will have a clearer understanding as to what I'm talking about when I work through these protocols, these energetic protocols. But for now, we're just going to do the protocols, and I will gradually get to those in the future. Okay. So the theme for this full moon, for any full moon, is about release. So if you listened to the new moon video that I put up, I asked you to write some intentions. And I suggested that you write them down on a yellow piece of paper with red ink. And if you want to know why, feel free to go back and review that on that video. So now is a good time to bring those intentions out. Bring them out that you set at the new moon so that you can review them and see what it is that you are creating in your life at this time, what you have intended to create during this moon cycle. Now, again, this moon cycle, creation may take a while, as I talked about in the new moon video. If you're on a specific path, if you're on this path over here, but you're wanting to create something over here, that's going to mean that you're going to have to make some adjustments. particularly if there's no fork in the road that goes over there. You might have to move paths completely in order to access this intention that you're setting. So that can create a series of events in your life that will take several months or maybe even years to fully manifest the intentions that you're setting in this month. But for some things, they might happen more quickly. So it's important to keep these things in mind and to come back and review them, particularly when you're having a difficult day. Because when you come back and you review these intentions and you can remember where you were when you set those intentions, it's always encouraging to see how much you've grown, how much you've changed, how much you've evolved, and how many blessings have come into your life that you have manifested as a result of this cycle of setting intentions and releasing over a period of time. So feel free to pause the video at this time and go get your new moon intentions, review them, and I think they might play an important role when we talk about these particular cards. Okay, so if you have your intentions in front of you, we're going to review again the process of the sacred feminine. Now, the sacred feminine is an energy of creation and destruction. And if you look at it in terms of simply a woman's body and her monthly cycles, or however long the cycle is, 28 to 32 days usually, it usually coincides with the moon, and this is why the moon is considered a feminine energy at this point in time. It wasn't always, but at this point in time it is. So you have the first half of a woman's cycle is building up to the ultimate creative energy, where she can receive seed and create life. If she does not receive that seed to create life, then she enters into the destruction cycle, where things within her uterus, the lining within her uterus matures, and then eventually it separates from the uterine wall, and then she releases it completely. So before starting the cycle all over again. So that in a nutshell is what the feminine energy is all about. Now, the feminine energy is not exclusive to women in a feminine body or a woman's body. And I'm not going to get into the biology of the many different expressions that a woman's body can have with chromosomes being, you could have 3 chromosomes. There are so many different ways a woman's body can express itself. So this energy is not limited to a woman's body, however it is you define it, or however it is science defines it. It's an energy that is present because it is part of a whole. So if you think of the yin-yang symbol in Asian culture, specifically Chinese culture, that is, you're looking at the whole, the circle. So the circle is the whole, and the whole is divided in half. So you have the dark energy, and then you have the light energy. And that symbolizes the feminine and the masculine. The masculine is the white, the feminine is the black. And together, they create a whole. So in every human being, there is both feminine and masculine energies present. And it's important that each human being learns how to utilize those energies efficiently and effectively, and to embrace those parts of those energies that have been damaged for whatever reason, and to bring healing to those. So even if you are a man, focusing on the feminine energy within you is going to be important in the process of evolving into healing the more feminine aspects of society that have been damaged by the patriarch attitudes and teachings. So let's focus on, the energy process that we're focusing on in this particular process of the moon cycle is the destruction. So the creation happens from the new moon to the full moon, and then destruction happens from full moon to new moon. So we've started this creative process, and if you have set an intention to create something that there's not room for in your life, it's going to require that something is released and destroyed in order to make room for it. So that's this process that we are entering into now. You may have gotten a few hints as to what those areas might be, where you might be heading after you set those intentions in these last 2 weeks. And so these next 2 weeks are going to be a process of releasing that which has completed and that which is no longer serving your greatest happiness or your evolution at this time. So this process of releasing is going to be focusing on this energy right here. And this energy here is a complex one. And like I mentioned in the new moon, this was really speaking to me. And the reason it was speaking to me is because I spent 12 years of my life in Eastern Africa as a child. And so from the age of 6 to 15, I was in the country of Malawi. And from 15 to 18, I was in the country of Kenya. And I remember in both of those places, I lived outside of the cities, and I would hear the drummings and at celebration times, and for different celebrations throughout the year, I would hear the drummings at night from my bed. And it always was amazing to me to hear the different rhythms that were being played, and how they would transition from one rhythm to another. And it would start off more upbeat and really complex with layers and layers and layers of rhythms, and then it would gradually simplify and simplify and simplify and slow down until you got to a very primal beat where it was just this really deep primal beat, and that's all there was, just the one beat. And it was always very moving to me to hear that from my bed at night. I would not go to sleep until the drumming had completed, and I always wanted to attend these ceremonies because I wanted to see the dancing. I wanted to see what they were doing. I wanted to learn the symbolism that they were expressing and how they were honoring the ancestors. And that's a big piece that's coming through right now in this, is that ancestral wisdom and the stories that we tell through our dance in life, whether it's a physical dance that we do for artistic expression, or whether it's the dance that we live in, how we move through our lives and in our schedules, how we go shopping, how we cook our meals, how we eat, what we eat, when we eat, when we sleep, where we sleep, all of these things, how we interact with people, they're part of a bigger story that we tell about ourselves and our lives, and it's influenced by our ancestors. So how we are living now is a product of 7 generations before us, and how we are living now is going to influence 7 generations after us. Even if we don't have children, it will affect any generations that have our same DNA 7 generations beyond us. So how we do our dance and how we live our lives now is both a product of our ancestors, but can also be a conduit to heal things that have happened with our ancestors. So paying attention to the dance and the stories that we are telling in our own lives as part of reviewing those things that are releasing in our lives is going to help the release be easier. And that's going to come down to this idea of rhythms. So again, I was talking about listening to the rhythms when I was a child lying in bed at night, and how there were layers and layers and layers of rhythms, especially at the beginning. And it was so complex that I just loved just following one particular thread of within a rhythm and hearing how the counterbalance of it was against other rhythms that other drummers were playing at the same time. And I always found it really, really intriguing. I enjoyed it tremendously. And even now I really enjoy pieces of music that have complex rhythms to them for that very same reason. But then it eventually becomes simpler and simpler and more profound as the night progressed. And that is what I was inspired to pull this card from a different deck. It's from the Goddess deck, the Goddess Oracle deck, talking about Morgan Le Fay, the Lady of the Lake, as the mother maiden and the crone, the maiden mother crone energy, and that each of these energies has a different rhythm to it, a different cycle to it, and some are more complex, some become simpler as you get older, and you come to the true essence of who you are and what is important to you. And so that is what is being called for at this time as you release through these next 2 weeks, is to think about, meditate about, what are these rhythms within you that are really reflective of your essence. So similar to a woman's rhythms with the cycles of the moon, every human being, male or female, or a blend of both in some way, has a cycle. You have a cycle that works specifically for you, and is best for you. And it's important, it's vitally important that you learn what those cycles are, what those rhythms are that work best for you. When is it best for you to wake up? When is it best for you to go to sleep? When are your most productive times of the day for lack of a better term, left brain thinking tasks? And what time of day is best for you for right-brained thinking tasks or feeling tasks? What time of day is best for you for communicating? What time of day is best for you for meditating? What times of day is best for you for eating? It might not be 3 times a day. It might only be 2 times a day, or it might be a few snacks and one big meal. When is the best time for you to make love to yourself, to a partner, to multiple partners? When are these times best for you? And as you find these rhythms, I encourage you to create a life that honors these rhythms for you, because you are going to be much more productive and you are going to be much more enriched in every aspect of your life by honoring these rhythms within you as much as possible. And you're going to find that by feeling into these complex rhythms of yourself, and ultimately tapping into the fundamental essence of who you are, that one single beat, that heartbeat of your existence. And that was another thing about this card that reminded me that, at least where I was living in Africa, I felt that heartbeat, the source of life, that was everywhere around me. Nowhere else that I've been have I felt that slim, hairbreadth distance between life and death more acutely. Now, I haven't been to all 7 continents. I've only been to 4 of them. But so far, the heartbeat is here on this continent, and you feel the source of life there. So when you come into your heart space, go into the back of your heart space and find that essence, that source of your beingness there. And that will help you find that ultimate heartbeat of your existence, which will inform your personal rhythms. Now, there are going to be a couple of tools that we can use to assist us in this process as well, as we go through this destruction cycle, this ending cycle. And it's going to be important to remember that as with any ending, there's going to be a sense of loss in some way, and to allow that sense of grief to come through and to express it. Don't stuff it down. Allow yourself to express it fully and completely, and ride it like a wave. Ride it like you're surfing a wave, and you just let it come, lift you up, and move you forward. If you're a surfer, you know what that feels like. Just ride the wave. Just ride the wave. And if there are any obstacles, oftentimes by riding the wave of the emotion, it'll lift you up and over the obstacle, and you won't even realize that it's happened until, a few days later, you're like, oh, I haven't even thought about that issue lately, and it doesn't seem to be an issue anymore. It's gone. It's finished. So just focus on the energy of the emotion of letting go. Allow yourself to feel it completely, fully, and then release it. And honor it. Honor that this item, this feeling, this experience, this, maybe a home, a car, a job that you've had has been a blessing to you. That at one time you prayed for it, you asked for it, you created it and brought it into your life to be a blessing for you, and it has been. And now the cycle has completed for that particular item or experience, in order for something new to come in, and to honor that, and to allow it to fall away with grace and love and appreciation and gratitude. So we can do that. I'm going to pull 2 cards from this deck here that will allow us to have a little bit of a mantra or an affirmation to help us through this process of releasing, through this full moon destruction cycle. So which 2 cards are going to be? Okay, here's one. Oh, this is so beautiful. I am safe. Here, can you see that? I am safe. It is only change. Now that makes me laugh because I'm a fixed sign. And change does not come easily to me. And so when I see it's only change, it's like all my primal hackles go up. It's like, change? No. Okay, and then this one. Oh, interesting. I am at peace with my sexuality. So I have no idea who needs to see that or use this as a mantra, but I think it's beautiful. Okay, So let's see what they say on the back. So I am safe, it's only change. It says, I cross all bridges with joy and ease. The old unfolds into wonderful new experiences. My life gets better all the time. That's a wonderful affirmation, especially when you feel like you're falling into fear or lack. Say this. Come back to this. My life gets better all the time. And this one, I am at peace with my sexuality. The mantra, and another mantra with that is, I rejoice in my sexuality and in my own body. My body is perfect for me in this lifetime. I embrace myself with love and compassion. So this is talking not only about sexuality, but it's talking about sensuality, connecting with the senses in your body and the rhythms in your body to help you be in tune with living a harmonious life in your body. And I'm going to touch on this just a little briefly here. I will do more in another video. But your body has a separate consciousness from you as a soul. And your body has a different purpose from you as a soul. They harmonize. You align them. You want to align them together because you are working together. But it's like you, the soul, are riding in your body, similar to a rider on a horse. And it's important to really develop a relationship with the consciousness of your body, because it is the most intimate relationship you will ever have. So becoming at peace with your body and embracing this connection, this relationship with your body, and expressing yourself through these rhythms of your body so that you can bring more into this dimension is going to be really important for any release cycle. But that's what's being heightened and highlighted for this particular release cycle. Because your body is responsible for ultimately bringing something into this dimension. And your body knows how to do that. You don't know how to do that, the soul. You know the energy aspect of it, and you can create it in another dimension. But to bring it into the third dimension, that's the specialty of the body. So the body consciousness. So doing what you can to live in harmony with your body and your sexual identity, but also the sexual energy is the creative energy. This is the root chakra, and this is where everything manifests from. So if you have any kind of trauma in the sexual areas, and we all do, some is more pronounced than others, but if you've lived more than one lifetime, you've had sexual trauma, and you've inherited it. It's in your DNA from your ancestors. Even if you haven't experienced it, if anyone in your family has, you're connected to that through your DNA. So come into this space and work with doing some healing work around your sexuality and sexual health, as well as finding these rhythms, because it's all part of this body process in order to bring in what you need at this time with the intentions that you set at the new moon. And the second tool that we're going to look at today has to do with plant medicine. Now, I particularly love plant medicine. I prefer herbs to refined pharmaceutical products. And by herbs, I don't specifically mean marijuana. I mean an herbalist, like a traditional Chinese medicine physician. But marijuana can fall into that. It's just not an herb that speaks to me specifically. And I often find that the energy of a plant is more effective for me than the physicalness of a plant. And so that is what we're going to be looking at today, is the plant medicine through a flower essence. So I know not everybody is sensitive to energy medicine, but if you're interested in it, or you know that it will work for you, here's a second tool that you could use. Now I'm going to highlight flower essences from 3 different companies today that I have found very useful. So this was the original maker of flower essences. Well, probably not, but the original that we know about today in modern times, Western times. So Edward Bach created a series of 38, I believe, flower essences in England. And this one spoke to me. This is walnut, and it's allows you to make or adapt to major life changes and to fulfill your ambitions free from the influence of others. Speaking to finding your rhythms and being in tune and living in tune with your rhythms, not the rhythms that someone else decides is best for you. So that one spoke to you. So there are 38 that you can look for. Any health food store should have the Bach flower essences, and feel free to go explore which ones are going to work best for you, but we're also going to pull a card to see which one is going to be most useful for everyone participating in this one. So here's in this session. So this is the first company. The second company I want to highlight is Star Essence. Now I have loved working with this company. They have I don't even know how many tinctures they have at this point. A couple of hundred, I think. And they're just beautiful, beautiful. They have sprays for like aerosol sprays. They're not pressurized aerosol, it's a pump spray. And then they have ones that you can take internally. They also have some mouth sprays. They have some for children. They have some for animals. That's actually what brought me to them. Was I was looking for something for my cat at the time, and I don't even know if Jackson Galaxy was working at that time or was public in what he was doing with his flower essences for cats. But I came across theirs, and that's how I came across Star Essence, and I started using them on me, and they've been absolutely fantastic. So Star Essence, feel free to go to their website. I know they're having a special right now in the month of December. See if something speaks to you there. There are also high frequency products that I highly recommend. And then this one, Love Lily, is a product that is being developed by a very dear friend of mine. It's a series of 5 native lily flower essences from the Santa Barbara County area. And she spends an enormous amount of time in the mountains above Santa Barbara, just hiking and exploring up there. And she spends an incredible amount of time with the flowers and the animals, and has the most incredible photographs, because they all show their best sides for her, and they'll stop and pose. The animals, the birds, the dragonflies, they all stop and pose for her, butterflies, so that she can take these incredible photos of them. So this series of 5, this is the first of her 5 that she has developed so far, is for making changes in your life. So it's important to get all 5 of them. This is the first one that addresses releasing the pattern or behavior that no longer serves your greatest happiness or whatever it is that you are wanting to change in your life. This starts the process, the release, the chocolate lily. Love lily, you can Google Love Lily, or you can find her store is on Etsy, and it's they're made by Angele, and she's just a lovely, lovely lady. So these 3 companies I highly recommend. And at this point, we're going to pull a card from this deck, and we're going to see which flower is going to speak to us at this time during this particular release cycle. And I'm going to let you decide how to use this flower. Maybe you just want to have the blooms in your home. Maybe you want to have the plant, cultivate the plant in your home. Maybe you want the flower essence. Maybe you want to put it in your garden. Maybe your doctor would recommend, if you have an herbalist or traditional Chinese medicine or an osteopath, who could recommend an herbal form that would accomplish the same thing that this flower does. Whatever you choose to do, that's on you. This is simply a recommendation as a tool that you can use in some capacity through this release cycle. Okay, this is the one that wants to come up. Meadowsweet. Now this should be interesting because I am not familiar with this flower. And this is a new deck to me as well. So let me pull out this book and see what it has to say regarding Meadowsweet. Perhaps it has another name. Here we go. Okay. Krios Chuchulain. I'm pretty sure I did not pronounce that properly. This is a Druid plant, so I don't speak Gaelic. The Latin name is Filipendula ulmaria. So, transition, blessing, and celebration. So maybe that's interesting. Maybe this celebration blessings spray would be appropriate. It's a member of the rose family. It has a sweet almond-like scent. So the story is the tale of Moth, son of Muthoni. She was made out of oak, broom, and meadowsweet by the wizard Gwydion as a wife for Lula Gifts. Oh my gosh. Okay, I've got to learn how to pronounce Gaelic. But then later she was turned into an owl. That's interesting. So it looks like meadowsweet was once used to brew ale, was used in marriage celebrations or transition celebrations. They are a reminder that change is one of the greatest features of being alive. So here we come back to this mantra, I am safe, it is only change. And that the best way to accept change is to celebrate it. Whether you are leaving a job, relationship, or familiar surroundings, or are joining forces with colleagues or a partner, this is a time to truly celebrate the change that is occurring, offering flowers to the gods or the goddess, and accepting the transformations this transition will bring. This card may also be urging you to formally mark and celebrate a transition or major event in your life, or that of your family that you've been tempted to ignore. such as moving or leaving home, reaching puberty, succeeding in a creative project, achieving a significant age, separating, or divorcing. So some writers say that this was one of the 3 most sacred herbs of the ancient Druids, the other 2 being water mint and vervain. Okay. So there we have it, Meadowsweet. I have no idea if there are any flower essences. I will have to do some research on this and see what I can find for flower essence for Meadowsweet, see if one exists. And maybe I will do that before I post this video so I can post any links in the description box below. All right. With that, I think we are complete. So let's wrap you up. I'm going to ask that we update all reference points, all ways of being, perceiving and being perceived in this planet, on this planet. I'm going to wrap you in sheets of rainbow light, gently sealing in these vibrations to whatever degree is appropriate for you at this particular moment in time and your spiritual evolutionary state. We are in deep gratitude to you for your service on this planet at this time and for your courage to grow, evolve, and transform. For as you do, you shift and change and evolve the planet and humanity around you. Let it be so, and so it is. Thank you so much for being with me during this sacred space. I will be working on a few more videos during the next 2 weeks. I can't really say at this time when those will be because we have a lot of restructuring happening here at home. But I plan to do them within the next couple of weeks. So just keep checking back, and I hope to have a more set schedule after this. It's an evolving process for me too. So if you have found this process helpful, or if you have questions, please let me know in the comment section below, or if you know how to contact me a different way, please do so. Thank you for honoring this sacred space and for participating with me at this time and journeying with me. I deeply appreciate your presence here. I learn as I teach, and it's always a blessing to me to be of service to others. And thank you for sharing your kindness and compassion as you interact with me and others through this channel. And until we meet again, I wish you many, many blessings. Ciao.